You are listening to the UK Preppers Radio Network on KPRN-DB UK. I'm your host, Tom Linden, and if you've just joined me today, welcome and Merry Christmas to you. Blizzard Survival are offering a 20% discount. What a wonderful product it is. In fact, the ultimate in lightweight thermal protection. Blizzard Survival have got a wonderful product called Reflexcel. This material has really become the new standard wherever thermal performance in a lightweight compact package is essential. Their products are totally unique, weight for weight. They're actually far warmer than Goose Down. And here's the good bit, 100% waterproof, tough, ultra portable and of course reusable. In fact, I will say, life-saving technology has never been so affordable. And all you need to do to get your 20% discount is enter the code PREPPER at the checkout at www.blizzardsurvival.com. Now the basic winter vehicle kit list. Okay, yes, it's getting warmer, and in the UK it's supposed to be the warmest December for 50 years. However, try telling that to people driving in cold areas, up mountains and so on. It seems every winter there are news stories of people getting stranded in bad weather while driving around the UK. Very few ask themselves a critical question, and the question should be, do I really need to go out at all? Now, I've written many articles about how to prepare your home for power cuts or natural or man-made disasters. Now I want to look at how to be prepared for an emergency when travelling in your vehicle. Of course, the most important thing is keeping warm and safe. Warmth, of course, is a major concern in a cold climate and bad weather emergencies. Since you will be in your vehicle, you'll have that as protection against the elements, particularly wind, chill and rain, snow. But extra clothing, preferably wool, some blankets and a sleeping bag, will actually keep you warm if you have to overnight or even stay longer. Now you should keep these in a bag in the boot, a rucksack or something like a backpack, or better still, like me, I've got mine in a plastic storage box. Now I recommend wool clothing because it sheds moisture just in case you have to leave your car during wet or snowing weather. It's no fun being stranded and cold, and hypothermia is a real danger in cold weather. If you do run your car engine to operate the car heater, be sure that you aren't breathing in carbon monoxide fumes from the exhaust. In other words, go around the back and make sure the snow hasn't built up around it. Now, I've spent a night in a car on purpose in the snow about 3 years ago, and I would certainly not like to repeat that. It was done with normal clothing and no plastic storage box full of goodies. So really, think safe. In a snow emergency, you must make certain that the car's exhaust pipe is not clogged with snow, and be sure that the exhaust has not been sucked into the car through an open window, for example, in the back of the vehicle. Opening a front window a bit will help admit fresh air into the passenger compartment, and if you can't smell you can't smell carbon monoxide, so really don't think because you can't smell it, it won't be there. Finding supplies, yeah. Once you've ensured you and your family will be warm during a car emergency situation, you need to ensure that you'll have enough food and drinking water. And I realise that everyone isn't lucky enough to live near a camping or sporting goods shop stocked with all the wonderful, wonderful modern day survival aids and so on. But don't worry, there's many substitutes for specialised camping equipment and freeze-dried foods, and that you'll need, and they can be found in most supermarkets if you know what to look for. The two biggest complaints I hear from people when it comes to buying emergency supplies are the high cost of items they may never actually use, and the need to replace out-of-date food that was never eaten. Look, treat prepping as having a level of insurance. You have car insurance, you hope you'll never need to have it, but you've got it. Now, those tasty freeze-dried, ready-to-eat meals from most camping stores are expensive, and yes, many may never actually be used. But this is also true of buying a fire extinguisher, as you don't intend to ever actually use it either. But you know, it's a real lifesaver if you do. To address these high cost concerns and the difficulty to locate camping shops outlets that stock hard to find survival equipment, I decided to assemble a 10-day emergency food supply by shopping only at local supermarkets. That is very cheap insurance if you travel through areas where you would not want to be stranded. And if you will not be much out of pocket, if you have to occasionally replace items that have reached their expiration date. In fact, rotate your food is a really good way forward. Store what you eat and eat what you store. Now, when it comes to drinking water, a person can actually live many days without food, but your body must have drinking water. Probably dead within 3 days without it. I've gone 24 hours. Again, I would not like to do that again. And this is easy to solve, I think, by putting a few plastic gallons of bottled water in the boot. Food and drink mixes, they're clever as well. You know, when it comes to stored emergency food, you want meals that are easy to prepare, use little or no cooking equipment, and taste good. Since you could be injured or trapped, you want to keep it very simple, so please keep your emergency preps in the car passenger area with you, as you may not be able to get to the boot. There are many drink mixes and dehydrated food packs that are inexpensive and, well, they can be found in supermarkets, although they're not actually advertised or sold as emergency or camping supplies. So check out your self-heating meals too. You may also want a few things to eat that do not require any hot water or cooking. Several small sealed packages of beef jerky, for example, trail mix and high energy bars are a very, very good choice. However, avoid any foods or snacks that contain ingredients like chocolate, which can obviously melt when stored in the boot when it's hot. Heating foods and drinks, well, you're going to need a mini camper of some sort, a gas cooker perhaps, or a homemade emergency heater of the type made from an empty tin with a toilet roll squeezed inside. Check out my site for details on that. Now, you need only 1 or 2 cups of water at a time, so you'll not need to hold a large pan full of water over a fire for very long. Your saucepan or metal cup will most likely also serve as your plate to eat from after preparing a dehydrated food meal. I think it's really nice to have some paper plates, paper towels, plastic cutlery, that type of thing, you know, because they will store forever if you keep them dry. Most dehydrated food packaging uses strong mylar or plastic coated aluminium foil construction, and some brands may even allow adding the hot water right into the pouch. You may or you must carefully cut off the top and support the pouch on a solid surface to prevent it tipping over you. You need to be very careful while pouring in boiling water, of course, because you don't want to scald yourself. Most pre-packaged meals require water to be extremely hot, so you may need to stir the mixture and let slightly cool for a few minutes before eating. Since you can heat only 1 cup of water at a time, you may want to prepare your meal first. You can then refill the cup with water after eating to make hot water or coffee, tea, hot cocoa, bovril, something to sip anyway, as you try to relax while waiting for the storm to end or rescuers to arrive. What about non-food items? Well, obviously you're going to need some of those. Your emergency food pack will need a few items you should already have in your house. In fact, you should have a new car that you can reuse. And these include a good pocket knife or multi-tool. I also suggest over-the-counter painkillers and any medicines that you're taking, which you should get through most medical emergencies. And if you really want comfort, you can also include travel-size packages of toothpaste, shampoo, hand lotion, toilet tissue, very important that, soap bar, hand sanitizer, some first aid supplies, disposable razor, You know, it's your pack after all. Put in what you want. Don't listen to me. I'm just giving you the idea. I'm just hopefully sparking ideas in your mind. But what you actually put in it is your choice. Now, while you put in your emergency pack together, save all of those free packets of salt and pepper and the condiments you get, you know, from fast food outlets, as these will come in very handy for emergencies. What I like to do is to buy things like the ready-made coffee and milk powder. You know, the ones that you get from, say, Nescafé, come in sachets, about £1 for 5, something like that. And I keep those in my plastic storage box. And that saves me having to carry around 3 separate containers because I've got everything in one drink. All I need is the hot water. Now, if you don't have a spare torch, flashlight, go buy one. Now, one of the small LED type torch or flashlights that use AAA batteries, that type of thing, they're going to last longer. LED bulbs or power lasts longer than the conventional bulbs. They're very small, they're very bright, and you know, they will operate for weeks actually on these tiny batteries. A length of paracord and a tarp are very handy for many emergencies. You know, think about a broken window and the elements outside. You know, with a tarp or with a sheet of plastic, with some duct tape or paracord, you could effectively repair that big gap in your shelter. And finally, don't forget that you need to plan your route, and you need to let somebody know where you're going and when you intend to arrive. Now we are here looking at a press release. Northern Wilderness Bushcraft and Stephen J. Taylor would like to invite you to join the First Frontier Bush Gathering Wild Camping Weekend in County Durham on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of July 2016. They boast of 1,800 acres, that's a heck of a lot of land, of wild woodland, meadows, along with the ancient abbey ruins of Finchhale Priory. He says we also have an on-site eco-touring park on the other side of the land with a small farmhouse cafe. The Frontier Bushcraft Gathering Weekend is a traditional weekend of bushcraft, woodlore, survival and outdoor living skills. It's a celebration of man, music and nature on a site of outstanding beauty. We've got Perry McGee from the National Tracking School on site, giving talks and demonstrations along with signing copies of his new book. I know Perry McGee, actually. He lives about 20 miles from me. I knew his father as well, who was Eddie McGee, famous SAS survival instructor, and of course SAS trooper. We have primitive living instructor Andrew J. Parker giving demonstrations on flint knapping, along with many stalls selling the best in bushcraft gear. Live music around the Centrefield campfire from live acoustic artist TBC, to be confirmed. The stalls for this event have been given free to traders so that they can keep their prices low, so that you can get the best prices for knives, axes, clothing and equipment. We have everything from falconry displays to bushcraft courses in the wild woods, along with axe workshops, fire lighting, campcraft, camp cooking, courses and much more. Our wild camping weekend passes start from $44.99 and as little as $119.99 for a family of 5. Day passes cover 2 days for one price, starting at $19.99 for the weekend. And you can't beat that. You can reserve your tickets now, and you can actually pay by the 30th of January 2016. Get the tickets before they're released to the public on the 1st of February 2016. And you can simply do this by email. Email Northern Wilderness Bushcraft at gmail.com. That's Northern Wilderness Bushcraft at gmail.com. and send them your name, contact information and how many tickets you require. Now then, you can visit them at www.northernwilderness.co.uk for more information. And I'll see you there, guys. This is going to be a fantastic event. If you Google the land, it's enormous, it's beautiful, it's got everything except you. So please make a point of getting your tickets and getting along. It's only Durham, it's not that far away from most people. So please give Steve a call. Folding pocket cooker review. Now, I've always wanted a folding cooker. Now, I have sort of thought, well, they can't be any good, can they? I mean, they're small, well, how good is it going to be? Well, you've got to forget cold food. Heat up some grub and see how you feel after a hot meal. No gas, no batteries. It unfolds in a jiffy. It's 6.5 by 3 3/4. It's very, very small. Now when it's open, it's 8 by 6. Now hinged all metal panels. Comes in a nylon case with a 2-inch belt loop. Weighs 1.2 pounds. And this is a great stove for cooking and or boiling water for your canteen cup. Some people even call it a canteen cup stove. Of course, you can use natural materials or even any one of the trioxab bars, the firelighter things, or your own homemade fire starters, the cotton wool and Vaseline type. And it's light, it's collapsible, it's compact, no special fuels needed, just use anything you've got available, paper, branches, well, anything burnable. It's extremely fast, efficient, cooks, boils, heats meals in minutes. It's safe, it's nature friendly. It's for use all year round. It's reliable, it's got no moving parts. Sturdy and simple, built of heavy duty materials. It requires little care. Now, upon opening the package, my first impression was one of quality and function. Just another stove, But as time has gone on, it's now in my eyes well designed, practical, efficient, superb at what it does, and very easy to erect. And just as easy to break down. My first test was to put a pan of water with an MRE in it. It achieved a rolling boil in approximately 7 minutes, which I think is really good. And I had completed 2 functions. One, I purified the water, and 2, a hot meal at the same time. Next, I cooked bannock and toasted luncheon meat. That was very easy, and they cooked quickly too. I decided to keep the cooker fueled, and there was quite a good heat coming from it in relation to the amount of fuel being used. It certainly would work well in a well-built shelter or a cave, for example, as a source of heating as well as cooking. Another thing I love about it is that it's easy to clean. I mean, you just simply take it down to the river and watch it, let it dry, pack it away. At 1.2 pounds, you may consider it heavy, but consider this: you'll spend less time searching for fuel, and you'll have much less fuel to get the job done, which is another positive to the foldable pocket cooker. Now, if you'd like to get one, why not do that and go to www.campingsurvival.com. Simple as that, my friends.